Hello and welcome to another virtual virtuoso of the Cheyenne Symphony Orchestra. I'm William Intriligator, music director and conductor, and joining me today is our associate concertmaster, Tim Cuffman. Welcome, Tim.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. Thank you for doing this. And it's been such a pleasure working with you these last few years in your role as the sort of, associate concertmaster is a very special position as the second chair, first violin, and we've been lucky to have you. How long have you been in the Cheyenne Symphony? It hasn't been too long now. How long has
It's been 3 full seasons.
3 full seasons?
Yeah.
Great. Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And tell us, where are you from originally and how you got started with violin?
I'm from a little south of Cleveland in Ohio, and I actually got started when I was 4 years old. My parents took us to see the Cleveland Orchestra, and I have no memory of this concert, but apparently it made a impression on my 4-year-old brain. So I wanted to pick up the violin, and so I started lessons after that. Some of my favorite concerts with the Cheyenne Symphony are the education concerts and the family concerts. And you do such a great job of encouraging students to pick up instruments or sing and become, a musician in whatever capacity that might be. So those are always special concerts to be a part of. And so as I took lessons, I was lucky enough that in Ohio I had opportunities in several youth orchestras, and that's when I started to have kind of impactful experiences playing things like Shostakovich's Fifth Symphony and The Rite of Spring, and meeting a lot of friends who had similar interests and stuff. So that kind of inspired me to pursue music.
That's very much how it was with me too. Those incredible symphonic masterpieces, when you're exposed to them at those impressionable adolescent ages,
exactly,
they just overwhelm you and they resonate with your emotional drama. For me, it was also like Shostakovich and Mahler and things like that, and I was smitten, and I loved the orchestra. I felt like I'd found my people.
Right, exactly.
I just want to say there's so many Ohioans that are in the orchestra or in the Cheyenne area, in the Front Range area. In fact, I think it was the previous Virtual Virtuoso was with Melanie Fisher, our bassoonist, who's from Ohio. Lindsay, our executive director, is from Ohio. There are so many musicians and people associated with the orchestra from Ohio. It's really cool. And there's quite an amazing music scene there, of course. Throughout the state, but there are so many big cities that have really thriving music scenes.
Yes.
So then, where did you do your undergrad, and how did you end up getting to the Front Range area?
I went to the University of Akron. And then for graduate school, I went to Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, and then I went to the University of Iowa in Iowa City, which are 2 great college towns and were just wonderful times. So then just 3 years ago, my girlfriend was pursuing a degree at CU Boulder. So I decided to come out to Colorado with, kind of with nothing going on myself, and was lucky enough to win the audition for Cheyenne and get some other orchestras going and teaching. And so it's been a great time in Colorado.
And was your girlfriend's field in music or in some other field?
Yeah, she actually plays in the Cheyenne Symphony as well from time to time. So that's great.
Remind me who that is. I'm sorry.
Megan Healy.
Oh, okay, right. Wonderful. So, now is she finished with her degree?
Almost. Just finished up her recording project, so just has kind of a lecture to do. That'll be done. So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
So.
Wow, nice. And then you sort of already answered this, but you played with other orchestras and organizations in the Front Range area these last 3 years and taught privately as well?
Yeah, yeah, and taught some group classes recently, which is a new experience.
Yeah, right.
New
Online.
challenge.
Yeah.
But,
And how did you find the living in Colorado lifestyle? It's such a different and special, kind of
yeah,
experience.
it was a big change from um, much more of an outdoor scene, and it's great to hike in the Rocky Mountain National Park and get into some of that stuff that I had never seen before. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was really nice.
That is so great. Well, it's really been our pleasure having you in the Cheyenne Symphony, and it's the role of associate concertmaster can be tricky because on any amount of notice you could be asked to be concertmaster. Tell us a little bit of how that has played out for you in terms of you know what how you see that role and its function.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, it's just kind of preparing as if you're going to play concertmaster, so learning the solos, etc., and
Yeah.
kind of just the way I kind of looked at it was just kind of trying to make Stacy, our concertmaster's job, easy.
Yeah.
Being a good section player and kind of following and just making um, everything as easy as possible for her. And she was so great to sit with for 3 years and was so generous with her advice and knowledge to me. And I played for her on occasions and gotten feedback. And it was just so great to sit up in front with Stacy and Jim and
Yeah.
Beth and Cynthia were just wonderful to sit with and make
Oh,
music with.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then um, having you also be able to play some chamber music with them on a
Yeah,
couple,
that was great.
that's
Beethoven in the Barn.
great. It was wonderful featuring you in Beethoven in the Barn just a few weeks ago. Yeah, that was great. Um, and then sometimes as the second chair first violin, when there's a solo in the concertmaster's part, you have to do all the leading of your section
Correct. Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
inside spot, and that's a whole challenge to itself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you've done just so wonderfully. I remember that it was early on, maybe even in your probationary or like first year, provisional first year, that we did the Fantasia on the theme of Thomas Tallis, didn't we?
That was early on. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because I remember Stacy and I were thinking, well, that'll really test Tim because
Right.
there's so many big violin solos, and then there's so much for the second chair to lead the rest of the section. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and I believe my first concert in that position was Puccinello, which is the same situation. So it's great to get fired.
You got straight right into it. Yeah, that's right. Well, you've been fantastic to work with, and we're just thrilled that you've been able to be part of the Cheyenne Symphony these years. Why don't we talk about the piece that you're going to play, and then after we cut to your playing in our final talk segment, we'll talk about your future plans.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to play a piece by Telemann, who Baroque composer, and like Bach had seemed interest in writing music for solo instruments. He has these 12 fantasias for violin, and then he also wrote 12 fantasias for flute and viola da gamba and also solo harpsichord. But this is going to be the first fantasia for violin. Has a slow movement and then a fast movement which goes into a minor slow movement that is really beautiful, and then returns back to that fast movement.
Mhm. Yes. It's interesting that he chose to call it a fantasia too,
Yeah.
because I think that composers at that time, if they didn't call it like a sonata or a dance movement or a partita, um, if it didn't have a dance movement title, or a title partita or sonata, then oftentimes fantasia seemed to signify that there was a kind of freedom of the form, almost like rap, the way that later composers would use rhapsody, and also that there would be maybe more harmonic um, kind of, kind of, I guess, adventurousness. And would you say that that's true for the Telemann, that he kind of harmonically maybe goes astray more than, maybe in a traditional kind of
Sure,
Baroque?
I think that is the case. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny that, Telemann in his day was much more famous and successful of a composer than Bach. Although nowadays Bach is, considered, the
Yeah.
great.
Right. Yeah.
But Telemann's music is really wonderful, and you know, a lot of times some of his music gets relegated to the Tafelmusik kind of genre,
Mm-hmm.
music almost like to be played while you're eating at the table. But no, this is. I mean, his music is beautiful art music and worthy of our full attention. And I'm excited to hear you perform it. Now, does the piece have a number of multiple stops to try to create more harmonies and chords, like
So,
Bach?
it's not quite. It's not as complex as, say, the Bach um, sonatas and partitas. It's not that complicated as far as the double stops go, but there are some, also a little room, I think, for some ornamentation. So to add some um, of my own things into it a little bit here and there. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's fun.
Well, wonderful. Is that what drew you to the piece, or was there some other reason why you chose it?
Well, kind of during the pandemic, it was a chance to kind of explore some music that I hadn't played before. And so a friend of mine had recommended I look into the Telemann Fantasias. So I had been kind of playing through those, and this was my favorite one. So
Wonderful. That's
yeah.
so great. Yeah, that same experience happened for me. I've discovered I've always enjoyed part of these Bach French suites.
Oh no.
And during the pandemic, I've been playing through so many other parts of them and different movements. And now I'm moving on to playing piano parts from the Brahms violin and cello sonatas, and
Oh,
just
nice.
sort of fun stuff, just random stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know what you mean. It's when we were isolated, and it's a great time to explore some different repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that. And how has it been in terms of that? Has it been really hard with? Well, we can talk about that after the Telemann.
Okay,
We're
sure.
the
Yeah,
Telemann.
let's do it. Okay.
All right, so this is Telemann's first Fantasia for solo violin with Tim Cuffman, violin. Enjoy. Tim. I can't wait to hear it myself. And we're recording this interview ahead of time, and I'm really looking forward to hearing it. Actually, I have to confess, the Telemann Fantasias are pieces that I'm not as familiar with. So I'm excited to hear them. And I mean, anything from that period with the title Fantasia, I think is something special anyway. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, no problem.
And just before we got into that, we were about to talk about how it was during the pandemic and is during the pandemic and how it's been difficult. Tell us how some of that experience has been for you the last 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, relatively hasn't been that hard for me. I mean, nobody's having a great time, and I'm grateful to be healthy, and my students have been very flexible, and I appreciate that very much, that they were willing to go online. It's, that's not, something that they signed up for. So their willingness to do that was appreciated. Of course, I lost gigs and stuff like that, as everyone did.
Yeah.
So, but all in all, it's been, relatively okay for me.
Yeah. And then, so now you and your girlfriend are moving. Tell us a little bit about that. We're going to be very sad that you're leaving.
Yeah, I know, it's sad to be leaving, but we're coming back to the Midwest. I couldn't take the Midwest out of me, I guess. We're coming back closer to families. Me in Ohio and her in Chicago, so kind of close to both, and that'll be nice, as we haven't been around very much.
So you've moved to Kalamazoo, Michigan, if you don't mind my saying, right?
Yeah, just moved in 2 days ago. I know.
Amazing.
Haven't really had a chance to decorate much.
Yeah. And they have a very good orchestra in Kalamazoo, and I used to know of their music director. I'm not sure if he's still there, but yeah, I mean, maybe, I'm sure that you both will find a lot of playing opportunities once things get back up and running in full swing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of orchestras around here, so looking forward to when that will be happening safely. So.
Well, we're very sad that you're going to be stepping down and leaving us, and we want to thank you for your years of service and exceptional artistry to the Cheyenne Symphony. We really appreciate it, Tim.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot, and I was really grateful to be in the Cheyenne Symphony, and it's a very it's not just me saying this, but it's noticeable that it's a very special atmosphere at Cheyenne. It's the people are very, very friendly, supportive. It's a great music making atmosphere, which is not the case everywhere, and I really appreciated that.
Good.
That atmosphere.
Well, yeah. Well, we're so fortunate to have so many fine musicians, and we're lucky to be doing what we love and making this music and spreading that and sharing that with our audiences who are super appreciative and supportive in Cheyenne. And one of the things that I think that comes across to our audiences as well is that overall it's a very happy orchestra. I mean, people are pleased to be making music there, and that's a really special thing. Like you said, there's a great esprit de corps among the players.
Yeah, and I think it affects the music as well. I know I never feel like the Cheyenne Symphony is mailing this one in. It always feels like a special time, and people are really people are giving their best.
Well, yeah, we're very lucky that we have such a great situation in Cheyenne, and I'm sorry that we're going to be losing you. You're a big part of it, and I'm hoping that you'll find something similar. Among the orchestras in the Midwest, who are going to be very lucky to have you. Yeah. In fact, if you were a little closer, I'd be trying to woo you to play with my Dubuque Symphony Orchestra in Iowa, but probably just a little too far.
Yeah, yeah. I played in the Dubuque Symphony one time while I was in Iowa,
I was going to
but
ask.
but you weren't there, and you were. It was a guest conductor from Italy was there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Gianna Fratta. Yeah, that's
right.
right. The one concert in
Yeah.
many years that I didn't conduct there. That's right. Oh, well, it's been great working with you, Tim. We really wish you the very, very best. And thank you so much for the beautiful Telemon today.
Thank you.
Yeah, really stay in touch. And if you're ever back in the area, let us know.
I will do. Yeah.
Great. Thank you again, Tim. And from all of us at the Cheyenne Symphony Orchestra, thank you for tuning in again to another virtual Virtuoso. This has been a wonderful way to get to know our players and to get to stay connected between the orchestra and our audiences and between orchestra members and each other. And this has just been really special. So thank you all for your continued support of the symphony. And it's exciting that we're starting a new season on October 17th. Thank you all so much.